Hello, I'm Stephen, and welcome to my living room, which has incurred the ravages of Hurricane Sandy in the most devastating and disheartening way. I haven't much been with you lately, friends. I've been dealing with a melancholic mood and, believe it or not, depression, which I had never experienced in this way before. It is really hard when you have created a sensitivity for these grand beings of life in our forests, these wonderful trees, to see them, and so many of them, maimed and broken, splintered, and torn from the firmament in which their lives depend. It's a pain that runs through me so deeply that it literally overwhelmed me. And some of that same force that opposes this life had entered my nooks and crannies and crevices. But I feel I'm coming back now. And in this season of long nights, I want to use what happened here as an illustration to what we need to be concerned about and what we can do in these times, what life is asking of us. You should have seen us as day after day, from one disastrous zone to another, we took our chainsaws, understanding that the trees, even though they were too broken and maimed and uprooted to die, or to live rather, were not able to die because still some of their roots remain attached, even though they were in awkward positions, and some of them completely horizontal to the ground. So my men and I did what we needed to do. With the chainsaw in one hand, we helped send them on their way, making that decisive cut right here where the life of the earth meets the life in the heavens of these beings. But friends, it was a difficult thing to do day in and day out, and I'm sure you can relate to that. I had no answers for their dismay. We're talking about beings who stood beautifully upon our world for hundreds of years, and in one dark and dangerous night, their lives were so ruthlessly taken from them. So again, this played out for me for 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks, and it seemed like much longer. Because as we did this difficult work, we also knew that this eventuality was not what life had intended for her children. This, friends, was another statement from the darkness. I tell you, the time of subtraction is deepening, and we need to be concerned. We need to understand and reevaluate our place in all of this once again. I also suggest to you that while we can't resurrect all of these trees, along with our walk through these disaster and destructive zones, we carry this in our arsenal. This, my friends, is a ground anchor. And if you peer through it at the end, it can support a hoisted tree. And if we use enough of them, and we saved many, we elevated many, and put these anchors, twisted them deep back in the firmament of the ground. And there's a corollary for us in these anchors. We need to reevaluate again our relationship to this living world. And we need to have a perspective which anchors us in these uncertain times. And for me, the message of more is such an anchor. And I really feel that it has been a seed, a gift, that my personal travails and journey through this world has allowed me to lend to you. To remember that beyond this world there are others. There is no end to this life. And if we live in life's fullness, we will have other seasons. Within the great wisdom of a tree, she has this beautiful aperture called a bud. And so that it is that living fully in one season allows her fullness in the next. And that's why I'm asking you, along with me, to remember our many gifts, to extend them willingly into the world, and respond to what life is asking of us. Because what life is asking of us now is what she has always asked of us, to celebrate the gifts of friendship and love, to extend our compassion and caring. And when we do this, we close out some of this darknesses from the cracks and the crevices that surround us. I really have a better read on depression now, having for the first time in my life been lost in it and not seeing clearly beyond it. And knowing if I didn't get busily about my life-giving efforts, I was only one step from the house of despair. But friends, there is much purpose in these gifts, which we all have. Our gifts are many. But we have to recognize them for the value that they extend to the world around us. Because as we love and befriend, we soften those hard places. We quench thirst and satisfy hungers in people and living systems that we don't necessarily recognize. When we extend forth our caring and our compassion, we are warming the hearts of others. We are embracing those who may feel alone. And we are warming those who, for whatever reason, sense a coldness. When we do this, friends, we are building that bud. And regardless of what all of this will come to, and it is very uncertain, I remind you, though, there is yet one horizon left to be met. The journey has been long. And if we agree collectively to just make that little tug, we will meet that horizon and then be able to come to that endless day in the open sea, the very thing we have all journeyed for, the thing that has been waiting for ages as we've made our way through this land and this world. But again, it is time to anchor and revere once again this world that we belong to, the firmament in which we walk upon. It is not a time to further extend our virtual realities, because, friends, this is a reality. The darkness is deep, but it cannot have us if we will not allow her. So let's embrace one another, our hopes and our intentions. Allow our love and compassion to surface in these difficult times. You know, if we can, we would like this to move effortlessly under a new sun into this and beyond this new horizon. But if it doesn't work that way, have confidence and trust that though our bodies and minds will be taken in a moment, also any chains which have bound us will be broken free. And we will instantly have the wings that we arrived here. And as we move forth into that open sea, our wings will lift others, and they too will know their wings. Thank you.